Attitudes towards Stephen Harper by POL242Cairo2013. The research question for this presentation is which factors affect support for Stephen Harper? The analytical approach used here is univariate statistic summary, correlation matrix, multiple regression analysis, and hierarchical multimodal regression. The dataset used here is CS 2011. The rationale behind this question is that certain factors can measure the level of support towards a political leader, such as economy, attitudes towards same-sex marriage, support for the incumbent government. And this rationale is supported by literature, indicating that attitudes towards the economy can define the support or withdrawal of support from an incumbent politician, as Paulson indicates, while attitudes towards same-sex marriage, as Madani indicates, politicians have garnered great support by supporting same-sex marriage. And lastly, supporting the incumbent government is an indication of support for the representative of that government. There was no index created for the dependent variable due to the fact that this is a scaled variable running from 0 to 100, and thus there are enough categories to be used for this dependent variable. The univariate summary statistics indicated that the mean was 45.4, indicating that on average most respondents scored lower than 50% regarding their attitudes towards Harper, while the median was 50, indicating that most respondents lie below or above 50, and the mode was 0, that the most common response was dislike towards Harper. The first hypothesis is that attitudes towards the economy, and indicating that those that are satisfied about the current state of the economy are more likely to support the representative of that government. The second hypothesis is support for same-sex marriage, indicating that those who have more liberal views supporting same-sex marriage are less likely to support Stephen Harper. The third hypothesis is support for the incumbent party. A person who has greater support towards the incumbent party, government will most likely have more favorable attitudes towards Stephen Harper. And our control variable is the strength for partisan identification, and which indicates that a person who strongly identifies with the Conservative Party is more likely to evaluate Stephen Harper as more positively than those who don't. The hypothesis for the control variable that we have predicted will be that there will be specification in this relationship, and our presentation of this relationship would look as follows. A correlation matrix was constructed that indicated that the first cell, which is economy and Harper, was the Pearson coefficient was 0.211, indicating that those who believe the economic condition is improving are more likely to support Harper. The R-squared was explained 4.4% of the relationship, of the variance. Because this is a public survey, 0.211 is a strong relationship, while the cell of gay marriage and Harper was negative 0.317, which indicated that those who support gay marriage are less likely to support Stephen Harper. And the R-squared was 10% explained 10% of the variance, while for the support of the incumbent government and Harper was 0.524, which indicated that those who supported the current government were more likely to support Stephen Harper, and the R-squared explained 27% of the variance, which is high, and thus this can help us conclude that this might be a good predictor for this relationship. A multiple regression analysis was also conducted, and it also indicated that the support for incumbent party variable was the one with the strongest influence, providing a beta with 0.580. And the R-squared in this multiple regression analysis was 0.43, which is worrisomely high, but it defines the strength of this relationship. A multimodal regression was also conducted. In step 1, the attitudes towards the incumbent party had a b-value of 39.7 with a significance level of less than 0.001, indicating that this relationship was 99% not due to error. While in the second step, it was a b-value of 23.7 with the same significance level. In step 1, the beta value was 0.580, while in step 2 it was 0.347, indicating that it had dropped, but not by 1/3. Thus, it cannot be considered as a relationship of specification, but one of partial explanation and partial superiousness. And the adjusted R squared was 0.43 in step 1 and 0.44 in step 2, indicating that even though it rose, it was still the relationship was still strong. The observed pattern indicates that while it was hypothesized that the relationship would be due to specification, the data proved otherwise, and it was a case of partial explanation. However, the R squared still rose and was still and has still defined the relationship between the independent variable, which is support for the incumbent party, and the dependent variable, which is support for Stephen Harper. However, the multimodal regression analysis contradicted the hypothesis that was mentioned earlier, and also contradicted the aforementioned literature that and eventually indicated that political identification does not seem to specify the relationship between the support for the incumbent government and support for a political figure. In conclusion, the correlation matrix and the multi-regression analysis indicate that the variable with the greatest explanatory power was support for incumbent government. Further research on this subject should entail income, gender, and marital status as a control variable, while region as an independent variable in order to shed some light regarding this research.